she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Zhang Weili is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Welcome into a brand new edition of Axe Cake Picks, episode 157. Today is Friday, December 27th, 2024, and we are just not yet to the new year, kid. Merry Christmas. How was the fam? Did you enjoy your holiday?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Hey, yeah, it was great, yeah. I know we're going to talk a lot about stuff, but one thing we may not mention that will take place over this kind of weekend is Octagon 65. So at least one MMA promotion is sticking out strong for the weekend because they're going to take place on Sunday.
Yeah, we're still on a little bit of a hiatus here from the UFC. We actually had a great boxing fight that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. We'll talk about, we went for our pound for pounds for men and women in MMA. But now we have to go and talk about the men boxing because we just saw one of the best fights ever. So, like I said, a little bit of a hiatus. We'll start our the first fight of the year is back at the Apex, baby. No better way, in my opinion, to start the season or the new year than January 11th, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. We got a rematch. Amanda Ribas taking on Mackenzie Dern as well. Then it's UFC 311 in Englewood, California. Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. Then we have a fight night in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Israel Adesanya versus Imavov. And then UFC 312, which is what I'm waiting for. Down in the land under, Sydney, Australia. Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland too. So we're locked and loaded. It's going to be a hell of a start to 2025.
All roads lead back.
And thank you guys for joining us here. I know a lot of people are either out of work today or they're just starting back work after a holiday. But towards the end of the year, we like to end it with our award show. That's why we got these collared shirts on. We got our watches. No big deal. We're not trying to flex over here, but Joe, I think we're actually low-key matching a little bit. I did it not planned, but yours is a little darker. Mine's a little lighter.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Great minds think alike. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Hey, like we said, we don't talk about picks. We don't talk about outfits. We don't talk about opinions before the show. We like to come natural, raw, and I like it. Unfiltered, kid. So we'll talk about that. We got great categories. We'll give you our breakout star upset debut. We'll talk about all that in just a little bit. We got some news to break as well towards the end of the show. And this is a gambling show. Did you think we were going to leave you without any picks? Joey got you covered for Rizin going on New Year's Eve Tuesday night. So be sure to stay tuned for the end of the show. We'll have picks for Rizin towards the end of the show. But Joe, I want to start going back to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Alexander Usyk wins by unanimous decision, 116-112. That's exactly what I scored it. A lot of people had the AI had it even better. I think he had 118-111. A lot of people had it 115-113. Now this is I almost said Tommy. This is Tyson Fury's second loss to Alexander Usyk, and he is the one who came out and said robberies do not exist. But it's funny because after the fight, he said he clearly won the fight, which I think you talk to everyone in the sport, anyone who covered it, anyone who watched it. Alexander Usyk won that fight. I thought he started a little slower than I anticipated, but after the 6th, 7th round, it was Alexander Usyk's fight to win, and I thought he did just that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of went in line with AI. I hate to do it because I hate to take the humanity out of the sport, but just looking at it from an outsider's perspective. Now, mind you, I was working, and so I missed it live, right? So what did I do? I put it back on, ran it back, watched it without the commentators. Because obviously, looking back with the commentators, some of it was biased towards Tyson Fury. Kind of,
big time.
Patting him on the back, giving him his flowers. You see Alexander Usyk in there absolutely working his angles and, cutting the ring off and then presenting a lot of problems for Tyson Fury that he didn't present in the first time around. Minus the power because, I did go for the KO TKO, but, even though he was connecting flush, it did see that the weight that Tyson Fury put back on was a benefit for him. His chin was still there. He was able to absorb those shots. And he didn't get dropped as he did when he came in lighter the first time around. So, yeah, it's more so for display and how great Alexander Usyk is, more so than Tyson Fury's kind of letdown. I do think that Tyson is still in a good part of his career, though he's a lot older where he, started back in the day. But I mean, Usyk is more the same in the age. Look at the age discrepancy; it's not far off. And the fact that he kept his went all through gold era of Olympics. Went through the Olympics there, come onto the pro scene, and absolutely runs through the cruiserweight division. And to be the smaller guy in a heavyweight filled with killers, a heavyweight division filled with absolute killers, runs through Daniel Dubois. AJ twice, Tyson Fury now twice. I mean, there's just no stopping it. The unrelentless fury that he had, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Alexander Usyk to be reclaimed as the number one pound for pound fighter on the planet. A little foreshadowing to our list. I think it's on full display, and he has proved all the doubters wrong, because I just say you always regard the boxing at the heavyweight as the baddest man on the planet. We regard it in the UFC and regard it in boxing. The fact that we can always say that a smaller guy measures up to a big guy, yes, maybe the skill and the talent level is there, and if they were that size, they would be good. This is what it would look like. You would see a guy like Alexander Usyk, who could be skillful at any size, absolutely dominate the biggest division there is. So, yeah, Alexander Usyk, to me, and I hate to jump it out there, he proved that he's the number one pound for pound fighter right now.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing towards our list. Now, there's so many angles I want to go that you took it. There's no denying his resume and what he's able to accomplish in this sport. I mean, undoubtedly best cruiserweight, now heavyweight. And I want to talk about Alexander Usyk in just a minute, but you mentioned Tyson being the bigger guy, almost 30 pounds heavier than Usyk. Do you think that was because I agree. I first time around, I watched it with commentary. They were a little biased, obviously. Then I watched it without commentating, and I honestly scored it even better for Alexander Usyk, if I'm being honest. I think I got influenced earlier.
It happens.
Do you think it was a wise or the right strategy for Tyson to come in as big as he did?
Yeah, I think that he's turned over every stone on how to approach Alexander Usyk, but it's just it's figuring out a 1,000-piece puzzle in a 12-minute round. You know what I mean? And especially when you turn up a notch in a certain degree of the fight, he's going to present some new problems for you. That's just how intellectually sound he is, and he's able to put it into his body. I think a lot of coaches we see throughout sports, they didn't have the body to go ahead and produce what their brain was out there, but the dude's brain is matching what his physical ability is. So I think it's just Tyson Fury having his hands full. He like I said, turned over every stone, exhausted every option, and I hate to feel like it's like an inevitable thing. You kind of feel helpless in there, but just the tornado, hurricane, this avalanche that Alexander Usyk he was going to overtake Tyson Fury sooner or later. And
he had no answer either.
I don't think there's anything Tyson could have done, because we saw it in the first time around. We thought that's would have been to kind of stop this momentum, but because we saw it here we go. The second time around, I'm hearing feedback, but yes, the second time around, it was like I said, it was inevitable.
It was inevitable. He had no answer. I thought he started the fight actually pretty well. It was landing, but that jab for Alexander Usyk is just
to be able to get inside and throw that jab too, because he's outreached not only the height and the size, but he also has a reach disadvantage. He's a lot longer for his stature for Alexander Usyk is, but Tyson Fury 6'8", he's got almost an 80-inch reach, So for the fact that he's able to get inside and beat Tyson's jab and get inside and throw his own, man, it's a scary sight, because he's doing that to some of the biggest guys on the planet. Tyson Fury is absolutely one of the biggest dudes walking on this earth. And like I said, you could size up different fighters you've seen throughout your life. Alexander Usyk is a prime example of what will come to be from a skillful, talented dude and be full size.
Now, spinning it forward, were you surprised that Daniel Dubois got in the ring and wants to avenge his loss? I'm not surprised that first of all, he needs to be better on the mic. I don't think the promo was as good as he intended to be. I think we watched too much wrestling where we know a good promo.
Yeah, we know when someone cuts a good promo and when who doesn't.
But my thing is, I was more surprised at Usyk looking to His Excellency in Turki Al Sheikh and saying, "Show me the money. Make it worth my while." I'm very feel. That's all you got to do, because
bro.
I honestly, Joe, I thought he was going to lay the gloves down. What you laid it out. What does Usyk have to prove at this point?
He doesn't have to prove anything, but maybe to himself. we talked about those, circling division, lapping the division in mixed martial arts. I think Daniel Dubois, regardless of the fact he has that last belt, right? Usyk has nothing to prove, but he could go and get that last belt and be definitively the lineal champ in 2 weight classes. And then there's really no doubt he's lapped the division. That would be the second time he's beat Daniel Dubois, as we mentioned with Fury and AJ. I think
then he's like done. And let's be
that's
honest,
the three-headed
he has to get
monster
through
he's
Joseph
conquered.
Parker.
Well, who's going to say that Joseph Parker's going to beat Daniel Dubois, right? They have to fight first.
Exactly. That's my thing. He has to get through Joseph Parker, which is no easy stone. That's coming up in the hell of a card, February 22nd.
Nice.
Dimitri
and we're getting
Bivol,
a rematch. Yeah, as I was going to say, we're getting that rematch.
Exactly. Bivol and Beterbiev. So that's the co-main event, or commissioner, whatever you want to say. But I don't count your chickens before they hatch, Daniel Dubois. I understand getting in there and seizing the moment, but you got a hell of a match against Joseph Parker, who's trying to steal the limelight.
Who's a vet.
And to be honest, if Joseph Parker goes out there and wins, he should get the next fight.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then Usyk, he retires unceremoniously. Joseph Parker's an older dude, but
and he got knocked out by Usyk. Let's remember that.
He's the one who got knocked out by Usyk. And it's like that, overlooking opponents, especially a guy like Alexander Usyk. Maybe Fury did the first time around in a sense, like maybe you could say he did with Ngannou, but there's no excuse the second time around. So, I mean, this was all about Alexander Usyk, and the fact that he's got all these other heavyweights clamoring to kind of claim the throne, maybe just prove the point. Dubois is going to have to fight Joseph Parker. Whoever comes out of that.
And they never fought. They never fought Joseph Parker and Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, but they may or may not have that matchup next. That would stink in a sense. I guess that would be the only one Usyk could have to fight if Joseph Parker beats Dubois. Yeah. But like you said, if he goes and faces Dubois, he would lap the division then. And if he's beaten Joseph Parker to get that lineal champ status back, then he has beaten everyone in that division.
Now for the Gypsy King, 34-2. He's lost 2 straight. He does have that one draw to Deontay Wilder back in 2018. But his resume is one of the best ever as well. Otto Wallin, Deontay Wilder, he's beaten twice. Derek Chuzar, Francis Ngannou, but he just can't pass Alexander Usyk. My question now is, you have to make the fight. Him and AJ, right?
Say it again.
Hit AJ and Tyson Fury, Wembley Stadium. You have to make that.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, what else is there for Tyson Fury?
You had Tyson Fury go on his side mission to try to claim the throne at heavyweight, and he's of course still going to fight at heavyweight against AJ. But that, like we said, should have happened years ago, right?
Yeah.
AJ's kind of on a roll right now, right? He's won. He did
just
fights.
Get knocked out by Daniel Dubois.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're in the same same place. They're in the same spot. We call that as well.
Yeah.
But I was just saying he has a little more wins more recent under his belt. Because think about it, the last 3 for Tyson Fury, 4 if you grant both the Ngannou fights, right? I mean, he's kind of like doing a side mission, right? And then he goes on to fight a serious fight. May not be the best for bode well for those who want to compete in like exhibition matches. Granted, it went on to the professional record, but you get what I'm coming at? It's like it hasn't bode well for those who have ventured off and done stuff. Look at Conor McGregor, right? I hate to talk about MMA in a boxing segment, but look at those who have ventured off and stuff like that. And supposedly Floyd Mayweather's going to get paid like $300 million to do an exhibition. So I don't know. It's I guess the money's there. So the same thing to be said for these matches being made. Show me the money.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm interested to see what happens next. But yeah, I think you got to make AJ versus Tyson Fury. And then, I mean, I'm surprised, but Usyk versus the winner of Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois. But thought it was weird that Daniel Dubois got into the ring, if I'm being honest. But overall, we both hit on the money line. Alexander Usyk -120. You took a swing and miss, but it was okay via knockout. Via decision, though, hits +170. So 2-0 to end the 2024, kid.
I'm 0-3 to end it because, mind you, I did take the over on the Sergey Boachuk rounds. He knocked him out in the 6th. And then Moses Atama. Watch out for a surging heavyweight because I had him getting the 3rd or 4th round finish based off his opponent's durability. No, bro knocked him out in the 1st round. So he's got some vicious power at 19 years of age. Moses Atama, keep an eye out for that heavyweight.
All right, kid, let's get to it. Let's do our men's pound for pound ranking in boxing.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know if you had put the workout. Do you have your year-to-date records?
Oh, no, I do not. I'll get that to you next episode. Remind me.
Okay.
I'll set a
We
reminder
have
for
to
myself
do it,
right
'cause I
now.
have my year-to-date for y'all, so we will get
Yeah.
it together next
I'll
episode.
send a
Hey,
reminder to myself.
Start the
right
year
now.
off right with a recap of last year. How you doing?
Yeah,
There won't be
exactly.
anything to recap.
Yeah. Why don't you start us off with your honorable mentions while I make myself a reminder?
Yes, sir. Honorable mentions for me and my pound for pound men's boxing list this year. Well, of course, I don't think he's broken the threshold through yet because our other champions in his division. David Benavidez, he's trying to get the fight with Canelo, but I think he deserves to be mentioned. Jairo Pataya, I think the dude at cruiserweight hasn't really lost a fight yet, even though he didn't look the best in his last outing. Janibek Alimkhanuly, he's got 2 belts into his weight class, so I think he's on the rise. Don't sleep on the small guys. We've been talking about it time and time again. Oscar Collazo is steadily racking up all the belts at the lower weight classes. So if he gets another 2 wins, I'm pretty sure he would have cleaned out the division there. And then he's not in my top 10. My honorable mention to end this out is Newark's own Shakur Stevenson. He didn't make the top 10.
I'm glad you mentioned him because he's number 11 for me as well. I wanted to put him in really bad, but he doesn't fight. He's not very active. And I think at activity or being active in not just boxing, but MMA helps you get an award, helps you go up in the rankings, and also helps you in the fan base as well. People want to see you active. And as much as I love Shakur Stevenson and I think he's fantastic, I mean, the numbers say itself. I know the criticism, he doesn't fight the best guys. He has a big fight against Floyd Schofield on February 22nd in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So we'll see. 22-0 with 10 knockouts. He was very close to making my top 10. He is sitting at number 11.
Yeah, need more activity out of him.
Yeah. What do you got at number 10?
All right. So who did make the top 10 for me is a guy who's been knocking out a lot of dudes at a lighter weight class. And I think he deserves to get a little bit of his flowers, but yet he needs to secure some high, profile fights. Junto Nakatani, 28-0, 22 knockouts. I like this dude from Japan. I think he's kind of the heir apparent to Naoya Inoue.
Yeah, that's who I got, Junto, as well. He's also a champion at the bantamweight division as well. He just knocks people out. His next fight is February 24th against David Seller. So we'll see. I like him, I think. But, it's unfortunate. We were talking about our pound for pound in MMA last week with Alexander Pantoja. It's unfortunate that these flyweights and lower weight guys, they don't get the recognition as like the baddest man. But don't get it twisted. Junto could knock you the fuck out. So
yeah, dude.
I like him. I had to put him at 10. I would like for more visibility and more exposure in the States. I really
like there's a fight, I think, a boxing fight happening on New Year's Eve. It will certainly be overshadowed by Rizin because they're at least putting it on, providing it on the internet for a pay-per-view. However, the boxing end has no way to view it. So
same thing with Inoue, though.
Yes, that's what you get a lot of the time. No broadcast available. What's up with that?
Shit. Yeah.
So we're gonna move along, right? We'll go to number 9, and I have to put. He rises up a spot for me. I had him ranked 10 at my most recent pound for pound rankings. Jesse Ben Rodriguez, another dude who could just knock you out. 19-0, guy who's moved up in weight class. I think he's trying to prove himself as being a pound for pound fighter. Let's see him clear out the division and see if maybe he moves up again because he's another one that supposedly could fight with Naoya Inoue, and that has to bode well for Naoya Inoue having these guys ranked up in the top 10.
He's young too, Jesse. I love Jesse. He's in my top 10. But at number 9, give me Earl Spence Jr. I know he lost. Tough one to Gervonta Davis, but Earl Spence is the man, I think. I think he's going to reset himself, gather him, come back in 2025 and have a couple fights. I think we're going to see a little more active Earl Spence as well, but can't deny it. 28-1, another guy with 22 knockouts as well. But, when you get to that level, you're versing the who's who. So,
Terrence Bud Crawford's no slouch. That lost against him.
Yeah.
So at 8 for me, I'm putting out a knockout artist, almost perfect in the knockouts. And, he's continuing his streak because the last time out, I'm pretty sure he got the knockout finish with, the drops. He dropped his opponent over 3 times in a single round. Jaron Boots Ennis. Got to keep it out for Philadelphia native. We saw him as of late, more so than some of the other fighters named. or will be named. I think you got to give this guy some respect, especially with the knockout prowess. That weighs heavy in my mind, and especially the O on the record as what we'll compare to the fighter above him. Rare for me.
Interesting to see you put him at number 8. At number 8 for me, I'm going to go Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I think the kid is fantastic. 21-0, 14 knockouts. He's a junior bantamweight champion as well. He knocked out a guy, Pedro, who had a ton more experience, years more experience. He knocked him out in the 3rd round. Want to see him a little more active. Obviously, we want that fight against Inoue, but we'll see. I don't think he wants to jump the gun a little bit. He is
Not
very
so
young.
soon.
I think he could take a few more fights and then maybe meet Inoue down the road, maybe next year or in 2 years. But
Pack your bags. You're fighting in Japan.
Hopefully by that time we could get a state or
maybe
over in Saudi Arabia. At least that's televised. But yeah, the world is this kid's oyster. So Jesse Bam Rodriguez is a star.
Yeah, brother. So the Mexican fighting spirit is still here and alive, and it's going to be prevalent throughout the rest of the rankings. But for number 7 for me, and like I was saying, the rarity of keeping a guy with a loss on his record in my pound-for-pound ranking, I think the fight was extremely close. And if this rematch happens, there's a chance that he beats him this second time around and they get the trilogy. I have Dimitri Bivol ranked at number 7.
At number 7 for me, I'm going to go Gervonta Davis. I mean, the kid is fantastic. Now, I don't condone what he does out of the ring, but 30-0, 28 knockouts. Woo. I mean, what he's going to do to Lamont Roach. I mean, the guy's talking a big game.
Don't sleep on Roach Jr. now.
I mean, come on.
He's going night-night.
He's going night-night. What are we talking about? Frank Martin said the same thing. He got knocked out in the 8th round. I mean, what can't this guy do? I mean, I'm a little biased. I have Baltimore ties, and this kid is beloved in Baltimore. You always got to say it's not Baltimore, Baltimore. That's how they say it down there. But I love the guy. I think 30-0, numbers speak for himself. And March 1st, Lamont Roach is going to find out. It's 31-0.
Yeah, brother. I love a guy who mixes up to the body and to the head and has knockout power both. That's who I have at 6. I have Gervonta Tank Davis, the Baltimore native. The dude needs to get these high profiles rolling because, I mean, he's a star, right? And I just feel like he hasn't had the high profiles that we've been talking about that deservedly he needs to get because I think they're scared. I think they're scared of the knockout prowess. If he gets in there and he starts eating up your body, you're going to have your guard drop, and then he's going to throw shots to the head, and we know how successful he is. What is that, an above 80% clip he's getting a knockout finish on a professional record? 30 wins, 28 knockouts. There's only one guy who has a better percentage than him.
Now, that was number 6 for you, correct?
Yes.
Number 6 for me was number 5, and I had him switch last year. Can't do it this year. We're going to get the rematch, but I got Dimitri Bivol here at number 6. I had him above Artur Beterbiev, but he winded up losing that fight. Close fight. I cannot wait till they run it back February 22nd, but Dimitri Bivol, only one loss, 23-1, 12 knockouts. Now, he's not the most powerful guy, but, man, he is a technician. He is skillful. The fight IQ inside the ring as well. I know he lost, but at least what you mentioned about Gervonta Davis, at least Dimitri Bivol is doing. He is taking those big fights and putting his O on the line, which I would like more fighters to do. But I have to put him down one. I got to respect Artur Beterbiev. He did win head-to-head. Give me Dimitri Bivol at number 6.
Yeah, man. He is so good, man. And that fight was so close. So that's why I was saying – next time around, we could see him go out over top of Artur Beterbiev, excuse me. Yeah, he could come out victorious against him. So they're really neck and neck there. But above that, I got to put at 5 for me, Saul Canelo Alvarez. I just think that, he's the only lone guy with multiple losses record. But who did he lose to, right? Dimitri Bivol, who's a bigger guy, and Floyd Mayweather, the greatest of all time.
He only has 2 losses.
Yeah, he only has 2 losses. And like I said, it's, who he's come close to, Dimitri Bivol, he could get that fight back after this all said and done. He could fight who I mentioned at the beginning. Honorable mention David Benavidez. That's a fight that everyone wants to see. Who knows? He could fight Terrence Bud Crawford if he goes down in weight. So, I mean, there's a lot that can happen
Paul.
There. He can fight, Jake Paul or Logan Paul or Connor's fighting him. Who knows? But he deserves to be a top pound for pound fighter. The amount of fights that he has, the skillfulness that he does, the power he possesses. Defensively sound, technically sound. I mean, it's Canelo Alvarez, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves to be a top five pound fighter. Only that guy we talked about in the kind of trilogy you see there is ranked above him.
At number 5, I have Artur Beterbiev. Like I
Yes.
said, I just switched him. But yeah, undisputed champion at light heavyweight. I mean, he could get the fight too with Canelo if he really wanted to. But yeah, I love him. I think he really proved a lot of people wrong, especially me, who I thought Dimitri Bivol, after beating Canelo, I was like, oh, no way is Beterbiev going in there and winning. And it was a very close fight, but got to tip your cap to him. It's like when they rob you a home run. There's nothing left to do but just tip the cap. Attaboy, you robbed me. So yeah, I got Artur Beterbiev here at number 5. There's no denying him. 21-0, 20 knockouts, only decision was Dimitri Bivol.
Yeah, exactly. And that's who I have at 4. I have Artur Beterbiev because he does possess the better knockout record percentage than Tank Davis, and he's beaten a top 5 pound for pound fighter before, relatively close, but not only once but twice. You know, he beat Canelo and he beat Dimitri Bivol. Excuse me. Well, the fact that Dimitri Bivol beat Canelo, I think, speaks very highly of Artur Beterbiev being ahead of Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's what
even though the math doesn't work out sometimes.
Never does. It never does. But you know, the percentage of the knockout, the undefeated record, who's of what he's beat. He's a top 4 pound for pound guy. It's really a 3-headed race at the top 3 for me.
Yeah, and I have at number 4, I have Canelo Alvarez. I mean, 62-2, Joe.
Insane. Is there 2 like draws or no contests?
He does have 2. Yeah, he has 2 known contests, but I don't count those. Just like the loss to John Jones, we don't count that. But I mean, it's ridiculous. 39 knockouts is insane. What he was able to do earlier in his career, still doing it. I mean, beating Edgar Balnegra last fight, September 14th. I want to see what next fight he does have. At what point, this is a question I have for you. I mean, at super middleweight, he's the unified champion right now. At what point do you sit there and be like, all right, I could keep taking these fights, unifying belts, or do I go make $100 million and fight Jake Paul? He'll beat him. He'll beat him, but no one on this list. No one on this list, and it's not a disrespect to anyone on this list, but no one on this list is going to get the payday that they would fighting Jake Paul, and that is a fact.
That's a real crazy statement, but it's true. It's unfortunate for boxing, but I was gonna say he's already making $100 million per fight, but it's just about even more. It's always about more. So
show me the money.
Show me the money. I you know, he's probably gonna have to fight David Benavidez. I think that's the most likely out of the lot. We could see another fight thrown in there in the midst, but I mean, I think this is relatively close to laying the gloves down. Regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time, you go out with making as much money as you can. Yeah, that Jake Paul fight could happen.
All right, I think everyone's last 3 are kind of similar. It's just the order you have.
Just the order you have them. And I know it's sometimes you can see it's recency bias, but for me at 3, even though he is super talented and I love everything about him, I had to give respect to the smaller and the bigger guys. So right in the middle at 3 for me is Terrence Bud Crawford, the Nebraska native, with the ability to wrestle and mix it up. Why don't you fight MMA? I feel like he might be successful. He's a tough
Why'd
dude.
they disrespect him in the UFC when they did you remember that they showed him
Oh,
and they said the wrong name?
Who they said?
No, they said he was Kendrick Lamar.
Oh no. Bad PR from the UFC right there. That's Terrence Bud Crawford. Do not disrespect the man. Yes, at the end of the day, he could have been ranked 1. He could have been ranked 2. But like I said, I'm just giving the credit to the guys who have fought a little more recently, and their performance is based off those most recent fights. So I have him in the top 3. He could have been ranked any of those, but I have him at the bottom of the 3.
Yeah, I got 3 in a way. I mean, what he's been able to do is just flat out perfection. 28-0, 25 knockouts. Now, this is a guy not like Junto who he has power, but I think Inoue has a little more power. He's the junior featherweight undisputed champion. I want to see that fight. I mean, this last fight against TJ Dantley was, I mean, he knocked him out in the 7th round. I mean, there was no fight. He does have a fight coming up.
Yes, he does.
January 24th against Sam Goodman. I mean, I don't have the odds in front of me, but anyway, it's probably a huge favorite.
Minus 1,000, at least.
I want to see that fight against Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I think Inoue would be a smaller favorite, But that is the fight we are building up to see. But Inoue is going to continue to be undefeated. He's fantastic right now. So I can't wait for that fight. It's actually coming up in about 3 weeks. So we'll preview that. But yeah, I got Inoue at 3. At 2, I got Bud Crawford, 40-0, 31-0. He's the champion at junior middleweight. He won his last fight August 3rd. So not too active, but I want to see who he fights next.
Yeah, he needs a big fight.
He needs a big fight. I think he has to go to Saudi Arabia. His Excellency has to give him a big fight. Who do you think is next for Terrence Crawford?
Man, I mean, Janibek Alimkhanuly could be there because then they'll start getting unified.
But we need a name, Joe.
But that's the thing. I think that's the issue he's falling into. So, man, Jaron Boots Ennis, is he a little bit bigger than him? You know what I'm saying? I have him in my top pound for pound ranking, so I think maybe that could be, or the Saul Canelo Alvarez fight if he wants to throw himself in that hat. I mean, I think it's the kind of the balls in Bud's court, and that's why I ranked him down, because we're not seeing as much action from him, and that's why I put Inoue above him, because, yeah, regardless of maybe the competition you're seeing or not knowing the names as much, the fact is he's getting there, and he's fighting. He's going in the fire, and he's putting his record on the line, and that's something that's rare to see for pound greats, putting that O on the line. So just the masterclass of what he does, the power to the body, I think is second to none. If he was any other size, Naoya Inoue could probably compete with the best of them. So that's why I have him just above Bud, just ever so slightly. But when it's all said and done, it seems like we're aligned with who's number one.
Let me ask you this, because I had a few names and you never mentioned them. So I want to see if you agree. We mentioned him earlier, Canelo Alvarez. I mean, that fight with Bud Crawford, it would break the internet. It would break the internet. I mean, that would be deep pockets for His Excellency. If that's like a dream come true. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford, or Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Yes,
I think that is a fight to make as well. You got Golden Boy with Oscar De La Hoya. He's on board with that. You know, the WBC interim junior weight middle belt would be on the line as well. I think that's a fun fight. That's a bigger name as well.
Yeah, I like that. I'm glad you laid it out that way.
And then number one, obviously, is Alexander Usyk.
Yes, sir.
The Ukrainian.
I very feel the cat.
I like it also. He's speaking, at least he's trying to speak English. He's practicing and getting better. A lot of people don't even try. I mean, we see it in sports all the time with their interpreters, but I mean, what hasn't he done? 23-0, 14 knockouts. We just went through the list. He beat Tyson Fury twice. He beat AJ twice. Daniel Dubois once. I mean, undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight. He is the baddest man on the planet.
Yes, dude. 100%. Like we said, I led it. I foreshadowed it with, with the recap and all. But it like I said, if we were to put Inoue at heavyweight, you might see Alexander Usyk. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I'm talking about. Like if you were to put the guys at their weight class, and normally see them a lot faster than some heavyweights. A lot more skillful or graceful in there. Everything I just described is what you get with Alexander Usyk. This dude is undoubtedly the number one pound for pound fighter. Because if you now decreased him in size, he's probably beating Terrence Bud Crawford. He's probably beating Naoya Inoue. This is just a perspective. My perspective could be wrong. Everyone has got an opinion. They all stink. But I'm going to stand on this hill. I think Alexander Usyk is number one pound for pound fighter on the planet right now. The ball's in his court as it is with Bud Crawford, whether or not they want to take these fights next. But the thing is I just feel like his character is the one to do it. So I think we are very likely to see Usyk pick up the gloves and fight either Daniel Dubois or Joseph Parker next. More so than if we were to see Bud Crawford. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but he just paused for concern with even like Tank Davis not accepting fights. Like, are we going to see him fight Ryan Garcia, right? That's a fight I think
he was close.
Yeah, that's a fight I think we could see for him, and that could absolutely skyrocket his start. And if you get a knockout against Ryan Garcia, that means you're light years better than Devin Haney. So I mean, it's just gonna have a domino effect.
Devin Haney at this point. I mean, he's down bad right now.
He's down bad. But just all these fighters that are the outside looking in, if they could kind of lead by example, these pound for pound top 10, it'd be great for the sport of boxing.
Whew. Joe, that was fun. We should do more of that, especially like halfway through the year, updating our pound for pound. But yeah, we knocked out our MMA men's and women.
We've aligned with one pick throughout, like the women's MMAs, the men's MMA. Well, we've wound up aligning
I think
with
we were pretty aligned. I think number one, we were aligned.
and MMA men's. Yeah.
I think we were aligned with Jesse at number 7 or 8.
Yep.
And number 10, Junto.
Yeah.
It was just ordering. We had the
Yeah.
same guys, but you put one that I didn't even put in.
Boots.
Yes. Boots.
Don't sleep on it. You watch that fight back. Look how good.
No, I'm a big fan of Boots, but
Philly,
there's some ground to make up. Let's just say that.
That's
Joe,
right.
we have breaking news. The Navy midshipman just took the lead in the Armed Forces Bowl with 30 seconds left, 21-14 against the Sooners, baby.
Let's go, Boomer Sooner.
Yeah,
Doomer.
okay, yeah. I mean, first year in the
Doomer.
SEC. How you fucking doing?
4-12. No.
All right. Before we get into the awards and everything, we'll take a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market. Hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted number 1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We favor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf with the boys or an elderberry watching Risen on New Year's Eve, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at XK Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, second annual MMA show here at XK Picks. I'm delighted that you are with me once again. We could go a bunch of different ways here, but I do want to start with the fight of the year. Now, I laid out a few fights that I kind of liked. I want to hear yours first, and we'll kind of ping pong back and forth. I'll start the next category, but fight of the year goes to who?
Well, I mean, there was 2 that could have been. If we're talking, you wanted me to mention some. If outside the UFC, PFL 9. You remember Hurricane Shane went up against our boy, friend of the show, Cassius Clay Collard. That was a hell of a fucking fight. That was a great fight that took place. Remember, it was not for anything. These guys are just going out there for glory. The Esteban Ribovic, Daniel Zellhuber fight, right? That was an amazing fight, right? These guys
on my list.
That's up there. But I think the one that definitely hands down, and you're going to see a lot of this event take place, but it wasn't even the co-main event. It wasn't the main event. It was the people's main event as the feature bout for UFC 300. Fight of the year is Max Holloway taking on Justin Gaethje. I mean, just everything we saw in that fight, you had it. And then to end on that note, one of the most amazing, magnificent fights you could ever see in your lifetime. And the way I saw it, I'll remember for the rest of my life, with a group of people who all love the sport. And I love and respect each and every one of them who saw it with me live.
100%. That is mine. It is the Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. I had to enshrine it behind me after that. I mean,
Yes.
If you weren't a fan, or if you're trying to get someone to get into MMA, show them that fight, or just show them the last round. I mean, Max Holloway put on a fucking clinic against Justin Gaethje. I put Dustin Poirier and Islam up there.
Yeah.
I thought that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, all the way to the 5th round.
Ribovic, Zellhuber was I wouldn't say close, but it was definitely second. That was a fucking war. Yes. So yeah, Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway is my fight of the year. Now I'm going to lead it off in the next category. Let's go to comeback.
Okay.
Comeback of the year.
Nice.
Now, who would I be if I didn't put my boy Neil Magny versus Mike Malott coming back? But he is not mine. He's not the winner. I had to put him on the list.
Yo, respect, bro.
JDM and Gilbert Burns. That was a hell of a comeback.
Yo, word.
But I have to give it to Manny Morgano and Jalen Turner.
At UFC 300. Holy shit.
Yes. Now, maybe a little foresight to my event of the year. But, I mean, him getting dropped in the first round and the transfer just kind of walking off thinking he got the knockout. And then Morgano finishing him. Oh, my God. It was a comeback of the year. It wasn't close. I did put Yuri Prohaska and Alexander Rakic up there as well. Yuri coming back and winning that fight.
Yes.
But I had to put Neil Magny in there. I had to.
Neil Magny, but Money Moicano, he stole that, bro.
Yes.
You know, he cannot afford to lose. You know
No,
what I mean?
he literally cannot.
And to get his first knockout, we saw a lot of firsts this year. That was amazing to have that feather in his cap to get that knockout that he ever desired. Yeah. For me, I'm going to throw you with a little curveball here. For me, I'm going outside of the octagon, and I'm going with the comeback of the year for Mr. Mark the Hammer Coleman. If you don't remember, back when he had survived the fire, he lost his beloved dog Hammer, but he was able to save both his parents, and he's made it out alive, and he's continuing forth with mixed martial arts, and the 7 testaments, and just the 7 tenets, and just everything how the way he lives his life is something to admire too. And he's made a big recovery in the way his health is, and also being able to move, because these guys, they put their bodies on the line, and they don't reap the benefits when they get older. They have nothing but work. We saw the amazing comeback of Butterbean as well. But I think to win the show, I had to go outside the octagon, and comeback of the year has got to go to the Hammer Mark Coleman. Let's all give him a round of applause, because I mean, he deserves it.
I mean, you threw me a curveball, but I mean, he just defied every odds. I mean, Joe, you know how close. You hear Blue in the background, and you know how close I am with my dog. It's just a tragic event, but thank God, God is with him, with his parents as well. They made it out, and now he's living to tell the story, and he's going around and expressing everything, and he's doing better. So you'll love to see it. Shout out Mark Coleman, man. Absolute fucking legend. I'm glad you went that way. Let's go to the male fighter of the year. And I'm gonna throw it right back to you, kid. What do you got for your male fighter of the year? I thought this one was very interesting.
Yeah, because you got a lot of guys who had great, fantastic years, like Joaquin Buckley. We see him most recently. Ends the year, last event of the year. It kind of states his case ever so. But there's a lot of ladies I had to give him some shout outs, because the other fighters that would be on this list, they have maybe some other awards heading their way. So the male fighter of the year for me, I think throughout MMA, it's got to be Alex Poatan Pereira. Stepping in, saving UFC 300, saving all these cards for the company, and then the performances that he's gone out and put. Granted, it started off a little rocky getting that decision win, but that was last year. We're talking about 2024. What has he done? Nothing but 3 consecutive knockouts, meme-worthy, exciting, vicious. I mean, just everything you can use to explain this guy right now. He's taken the sport by storm this year. He thought he was, done in 2023. He was just getting started in 2024, and I think there's maybe more to come in 2025.
Yeah, I hate to be the guy, but I had to put Poatan Pereira too. I don't think it was close. I did put Joaquin Buckley up there. I put Ilia Topuria up there. I think those 2 wins, but they're not as active. I mean, I put DDP up there as well. Though DDP had a pretty good year as well, but Poatan 3-0. I mean, he started the year off in April, though. He didn't really start off active in the early parts, but knocking out Jamal Hill, leaving the meme there, then head kicking Yuri Prohaska, then the uppercut. What a battle that was against Khalil Roundtree as well. Those 3, I think, were a little better than Ilia Topuria, so I had to give the nod to Poatan. I mean, he saved the company so many times. 9-1 in the UFC. Only loss is to Stylebender.
Yep.
All right, let's go to, since we just took male fighter of the year, let's go to the female fighter of the year. Whew. I'll tell you the 4 names I put down. Jasmine Jasudavicius, hell of a year she's had.
Shout out.
Your girl, Dakota Ditcheva, Kayla Harrison, and Zhang Weili. Had to give it to my girl, Zhang Weili, though. I mean, the year she's had, she's just a beast, kid. And I like that she's also fighting a little earlier in the year as well. Going tough fight here coming up against Tatiana Suarez. But
she's going to have to practice some wrestling and grappling all camp.
Exactly. But, I mean, 25-3. Was her nickname the Magnum? Which what she's been able to do, only 1 fight, but I mean, it was a decision win against Yan Xiaonan. I know a lot of people want to give it to.
She's built like a 357 Magnum.
Yeah, literally. But I know a lot of people are going to give it to Dakota, and rightfully so. I wouldn't be mad at that, but I just think Zhang Weili is just an absolute beast. So, or Kayla Harrison as well.
being the best fighter in the the hardest promotion and warding off all the hungry competitors that come in. Yeah, Weili Zhang to me should have deserved it if you were to mention Kayla Harrison over her. Kayla Harrison makes her debut and all this stuff, and just not to the championship level yet. Yet we may see that fight against Juliana Pena. I actually love your pick. I think Weili Zhang should have been it because of the promotion and the level that she's fighting at, but just based off potential, and I put her at number 1 pound for pound for my women's rankings.
Yeah, it
is typical of me to put Dakota Ditcheva at number 1. Dangerous is everything. She lives up to her name. The fact that she's rounded out her game with the grappling, the takedown and defense, and it's a type of level of sprawl and brawl that I haven't seen before because the technicality and the athleticism that she possesses is second to none. And I want her to make her way to the UFC because that's where we'll get the deciding factor, whether or not what I say, these bold hot takes, are so true.
Now, this isn't a category, but my bold prediction for 2024 or 2025, excuse me, UFC will acquire Dakota Ditcheva, and it's like a trade or something. And she has to go to. There's no one to fight left. There's no one to fight. What is she just going to keep winning $1 million? I mean, that's cool and all, but
she can start winning pay-per-view points.
Exactly, and win so much more money. Real quick update. Oklahoma scored a touchdown with 4 seconds left. They went for 2 to win the game, and Navy got the stop, baby.
Let's go, Navy. And they beat Army last.
Army.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
All right, let's go to knockout of the year. Now, I got a few. Obviously, Poirier Holloway was. It was.
It's impressive. It hurts, but it's impressive. Very impressive.
Shara Bullet and Petrosian, the double
back. I call that live. Double back fist.
That had to be up there. But again, it is enshrined behind me for a reason. Yeah. But Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje and just standing on business, saying, you know what? I am dominating this fight, but the last 10 seconds we could fucking brawl right here, and gave the fans everything they wanted to see.
Yeah.
That is why Max Holloway is one of the most beloved fighters, not just now, but in company history of all time. So I had to enshrine him for that, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, and it is, it is. But, I just didn't want to have that littered all over the awards.
Oh, you're being cute now, kid.
Yeah, I'm being a little cute, man, because here's the thing. You can argue that one of the most vicious knockouts you've ever seen in your entire life was Bryce Mitchell getting knocked out by Josh Emmett. I think we forget about that knockout. That was something else. Dude's convulsing on the canvas. It's just, you don't see that too often. Even that level of fighting. But yeah, as you mentioned, that knockout, that should be regarded as one of the greatest knockouts in company history of all time across any MMA promotion. That's definitely deserving of it. But the reason why I put this is because, like I said, there was a lot of firsts this year, right? We saw the Moicano knockout, and I think the last thing you would ever expect is for everything that Bryce Mitchell received from Josh Emmett to go ahead and deliver it to Cron Gracie. I gave it to Bryce Mitchell. The last, I've been saying it time and time again. The whole event, right? Went up New Jersey to watch it. The whole event, I'm like, Bryce Mitchell isn't knocking out Cron Gracie. That's all I kept the whole night. We're like, should we bet it? Should I bet it? No. It's not gonna happen. He's not he's never knocked out anybody in his life. Every inch of, I think the universe works that way. It just, it's ebbs and flows, right? It's the game we play. He took every single ounce of that punch from Josh Emmett and put it in the elbow and gave it to the Gracie family. Cron Gracie just took all that after getting slammed, after getting elbowed. I think it's, it's poetic in a sense. So, I may have a hipster take on this one by giving it to Bryce Mitchell, but he is one of the, first of hopefully many knockouts to come in his career, but maybe we'll never see it again. So I got to give the knockout of the year to Bryce Mitchell.
I'm not just taken back by that. I'm taken back because I checked my account and I thought I bet Navy and I didn't put the bet in. And now I'm very angry. Now I'm very angry at everyone right now.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Bryce Mitchell, you lost your title. That's it. No award for you.
All right, let's go to the next one. Submission. Let's go to submission of the year. I'm gonna go right back to you, kid, because I thought this one was really good. I put. Let me tell you something real quick. I put Patty Pimblin, Bobby Green. King Green, excuse me.
Yeah, King Green.
DDP, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
We forget that. Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, Shemaev, Whitaker. There was a lot of submissions. What do you like?
Man, I gotta, like I said, it's a first time for anything to happen in this sport, man. And as you said, all those submissions that took place and may have been more spectacular submissions that we might have missed, but it was the first one and the last thing you would ever expect. And you can tell this from me because I told you there's no way Angela Hill is gonna submit Luana Pinheiro here. Mounted guillotine, bro, to get her first submission of her career. Once again, another poetic award for me. Give me Angela Hill getting the submission over Luana Pinheiro.
I mean, I think he's a future champion. Maybe come 2025, we'll see how he fights. But Shemaev over Whitaker, I mean, Whitaker was looking so fucking good.
Sharp.
Just to come out there and decimate a future Hall of Famer and Robert Whitaker. I mean, I looked over because I was watching the fight with Elvis. I look at him. He goes, "Was he supposed to do that?" I go, "This guy's the boogeyman." Like, this guy is absolutely no fucking joke.
No, scary.
He is a scary individual. I had to give it to Shemaev over Whitaker. That's my submission of the year. Let's go to event. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's go to event of the year. Obviously, UFC 300. We have honestly, I put UFC Tampa up there. I put him up there because I thought
UFC China low key could have been up there.
UFC China was on there for me. UFC 308 was on there. Noche UFC.
Yep.
But I had to give it to UFC 300. I mean, it was amazing. First of all, Poatan coming in on short notice, leaving a meme in Jamal Hill, Zhang Wei Li, getting the
Yan Zhan unconscious and her waking up.
We get the performance of the night, the fight of the night, the people's main event, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. We had a banger of a fight in Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira.
Yes.
Bo Nickel, Yuri Prohaska, Alexander Rakic, Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling. The debut of Kayla Harrison.
Kayla Harrison. And then it started with Figgy and Conor Garbrandt.
Yeah, no chin. He got submitted.
Jim Miller even went to war with King Green.
And unfortunately, we did see our boy Jim Miller, but he
went to war. He
did go to war.
He decided, I'm not attempting a takedown. We're going to fight on the feet. We're standing.
And I told you about the comeback of the year with Money Marcano knocking out Jalen Turner. We had Diego Lopez against Sadiq Youssef.
Knocked him out.
I mean, there was just fantastic fights. I know this one was a casual take, but I had to put UFC 300.
Yeah, it's UFC 300. I think if you said anything else, you would have been mistaken. Like how I think you were taken aback by me picking the knockout that I did, because we should have seen UFC 300 splattered all over this with, like you said, the comeback, fight of the year, knockout of the year, the male fighter of the year. It's just littered with UFC 300. So the event of the year and possibly in the company's history to this day is still UFC 300.
It lived up to everything.
Yes, it did.
Let's go to breakout star of the year. Now, I did put your girl Dakota up there because you and I knew about her for about 2 years now.
But not many others have.
Not many others, but now everyone's starting to realize, oh shit, this girl is fucking legit. We've known that. I had to put Dakota up there. I mean, I had to put Charlotte Bullet up there, Diego Lopez, and I had to put up I need to get a pack of cigarettes very soon, but Carlos Paredes, I want to smoke a dart with him. I have to. I don't smoke.
If you see him at one of the events, you got to ask him, like, yo, a little cigarette right now? A little cigarette break?
Like 5-6 cigarettes a day.
And then he knocks out your favorite fighter.
I don't get it, but I had to put Diego Lopez up there. He won for my breakout star of the year.
Yeah.
The guy's going to fight for the title next season.
They're clamoring for him to do so, 100%. He's my breakout star of the year. We didn't talk about this yet again. I see we're aligned in a couple things, but yeah, Diego Lopez, I mean, he's put himself on the mat through his performances. You know, not many people do that, bouncing his fists off T-City's head at Noche,
Jesus.
Stepping on short notice. If it wasn't for Poatan, I mean, he could be up there for, saving a lot of fights for the UFC. Dan Ige was this year, right?
Shout out Dan Ige, too.
Shout out Dan Ige for doing that. But, I mean, he had to take that fight as well. So, I think Diego Lopez has done nothing but prove that he is a star in the making, and it was a breakout year for him.
Yep. We're going right back to you. We're going to go upset of the year. Now, there was a bunch of upsets. I am interested to see where you're going to go.
Yeah, there was a bunch of upsets. You mentioned, like you said, most notably maybe the Neil Magny one up in Canada coming back against Mike
that was
Mella.
no upset for me, baby.
But I'm going back in your court, and I'm going to give some respect to your boy. Remember the name, Bilal Muhammad upsetting Leon Edwards. I think we all counted him out. We said Leon.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, looking into that fight, I said Leon's too good. He's got him figured out. He's going to outstrike him. But Bilal Muhammad's relentless pace and just pressure just outmatched anything Leon could offer him, slamming him on his head and outboxing him too, putting together combinations. There was no answer for Bilal Muhammad right then and there. He righted the wrong with the eye poke. I think Bilal Muhammad's on track to defend the belt after he was, announced out for Shavkat. So that seems to be who he's going to fight next. So, yeah, we'll see. But upset of the year for me, no one expected Bilal Muhammad besides D-Rock.
Yeah, that didn't make my list because I actually favored him in Dylan's Sportsbook as the big favorite. For me, I remember we had Anthony Smith, Petrino as well. That was an upset, but mine, I don't think it was close. It was Dan Hooker versus Mateusz Gamrot.
Yes,
I counted Dan Hooker out. Who the fuck am I? When a sick, deranged, and I say it in the most respectful way, but when he goes back to the stool and says to his coach, I fucking love this shit. That is not a guy you want to fight.
You run away from that.
You run away from Dan Hooker, and he just seems to be getting better. To knock off a number 5 guy in Mateusz Gamrot that just weighed in as the backup fighter for a title fight, he put himself in a very successful 2025. So I had to give it to Dan Hooker. Everyone counted him out, and so did I.
Yeah, I did. I forgot about that. That was an amazing performance. I think it was the evolution of Dan Hooker to who he is today, right? He had to kind of break the mold, the ties that bind him from his past. And then once he'd done that, man, the tattoos.
I was just going to say, he always getting more tattoos.
Hair, yeah, the bleach blonde hair. I mean, Dan Hooker's reinvented himself. And bro, he's going to put on some entertaining fights in 2025. Watch out for Dan Hooker now.
Love it. And then the last one that I have, and I think Joe has a few more, but the debut of the year.
Yes.
Maybe Fighting Nerds, my boy Carlos against Trevin Giles. I just mentioned Holly Holmes versus Kayla Harrison. That was very close for me, but I had to give it to 100%. He's just fantastic. I mean, the Fighting Nerds are the gym of the year. I mean, everyone has won. I think they went undefeated this year.
Besides Brazil, Bruno Brazil.
Oh, Bruno Brazil.
All the fights were neck and neck. She put up a fight on all of them.
But I had to do the debut of Carlos Perez. Now 4-0 in 2024.
Yeah, for me, he not only would it be the debut of the year, but he would be the rookie of the year for me. Going 4 fights before finishes and the way he's doing it, yeah, Carlos Perez
all smoking.
Is literally the nightmare, bro. Yeah. I don't know who you want to fight less, Dan Hooker or Carlos Paredes, but yeah, dude, I think both of them are nightmares. And like you said, yeah, gym of the year would have to be the Fighting Nerds, right? Everyone, John Silva, Cal Barrio, Mauricio Huffy, and Carlos Paredes leading the way. Like, all these dudes are complete savages. They're just iron sharpening iron. There's no other gym this year that should have won, and they deserve to get the nod for gym of the year for the Fighting Nerds on the map.
Yeah, what else you got?
I have 2 that I think we went over last year. And you might not have anything, but, all due respect for all the other coaches that this year, what has made Alex Poatan Pereira the fighter of the year, it has to do back to his coach. And, he has a great relationship with Glover Teixeira, but who's been in his corner for every single fight and who is he training it day in and day out in Jersey and Connecticut is with Polino Cruz.
Yeah,
100%. He deserves to get coach of the year. Like I said, these 2 guys have such a relationship together, and I think a lot of the success of Poatan is due to Polino Cruz. He has an MMA career of his own, and now he's dedicating his life to teaching the next generation, and it's all starting with Alex Poatan Pereira. So let's give Polino Cruz the Coach of the Year award. And last but not least, I got to go with what I see. I think that's lost in today's game, right? We go to analytics a lot, and we go to what the numbers are saying, but we lose the guys in the field. We thought that would work out with Buck Showalter for the Mets. That did not. But I like seeing things and how they've changed and how they've improved. And so I got to give an award for the most improved fighter because we saw him live in Charlotte last year in 2023. That was D-Rock and I. And for the main event, it was jail time, Jelton Almeida taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We knew going into that fight, if this dude hits the mat, it's over. And we walked out when that happened. Dylan, am I right? Can you attest to this? Yeah. When that fight went to the ground, we both got up out of our seats and said, this fight's over. But that's not the case for Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Now, after that loss, he goes on a 2-fight win streak in 2024, and you have trouble taking this dude down. So with him and King Mo in his corner, I mean, everything that he's done to improve, and he's not just going out there to knock dudes out. He's going out there to abuse you for 5 rounds because now he's not going to let you take him down, and he's going to be able to flow with his combinations better, not scared of throwing kicks anymore. I mean, Jairzinho Rozenstruik is an improved fighter for me. The record may not indicate that based off the other years prior, but 2024, I've seen a complete 180 from this dude, and I'm sure to see some entertaining fights from him at the heavyweight division for 2025. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, you deserve a little bit of flowers.
I love it. Yeah, real quick, the fighting nerds have to be mine as well. I think this was a no-brainer. Carlos Perez, Caio Borralho, Juan Silva. I mean, I saw him live knock out Drew Dober in Colorado. Mercutio Duffy. Yeah. They have 4 legitimate title contenders. 4.
All undefeated.
Yeah. So obviously I know a lot of people want to say AKA, America Kickboxing Academy, AT&T, Lobo Gym, Extreme Couture. So yeah, I think that I got to give it to Plino Cruz as well. I mean, he's on another level. I mean, it's just proof how learning into 1-star fighter could benefit your entire coaching career. Obviously Eric Nicksick, we put him last year. Yeah. I think it was the resurrection of Sean Strickland that kind of helped him.
And Francis Ngannou.
I like Tim Welsh. Yes, Francis Ngannou as well. Good call. But don't count out my boy Francisco Grasso. I like him as well. I think there are some more categories that we could do. We could do analyst of the year, commentator of the year. Obviously John Anik. But we could do other ones as well next year. Referee of the year.
I'll be honest with you. If you can look at all the work he's been putting out, I'll do it right off the top of my head. I got to give it to Dan Hardy, bro. If you're talking about analysts of the year, Hardy. Dan Hardy has been putting in the work. And look at his Tapology accounts. Every PFL that's taken place, he's gone ahead and updated everything for the accounts. So he's staying posted on his phones, being able to break down fights in live time and then put it through. I mean, we don't give him enough credit, but I mean, Dan Hardy being like booted out of the UFC, and they've known them notoriously doing that time again. I think they're losing out by not having him. I think the PFL is benefiting by having Dan Hardy.
I didn't know the story. Why did they do that? Do you
maybe we'll cross that bridge another time.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely put him as my analyst. I would put him as my analyst of the year, but commentator of the year has to go to John Anik. I like Brandon Fitzgerald, John Gooden, Laura Sanko. They're good. Even Sean O'Connell. I like Sean O'Connell. I know a lot of people, he rubs people the wrong way, but analyst of the year has to go to Dan Hardy. I like Dean Thomas. I think he's if you watch him and don't know really what you're watching, he's very technical and educational about what.
Could I go outside of MMA altogether for commentator of the year?
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it with Pat McAfee. Commentating on all different sports, WWE.
No, we're doing strictly MMA. He doesn't do MMA.
WWE.
What was I gonna say? I also like we could do even Ring Girl of the Year as well. And now that referee can't be Herb Dean, it has to be my boy Jason Herzog. I think he's the best. Mark Goddard is good, or my boy No Nonsense Keith Peterson. Herb Dean is down there for me. I don't know why. Luciana Andrade has to be my Ring Girl. No real reason. Or Brooklyn Ren.
One of the BKFC Ring Girls.
Oh, I don't know any of them. Do you know their names?
You got me.
You're gonna give it to them. You don't know their names. But maybe we'll put that next year. But Joe, thank you so much. Second annual MMA War here at Axe Kick Picks. Thank you so much. Let's go to some news before we get up out of here. UFC Vegas 103 live at the Apex. We got a main event in the flyweight division. Number 1, Brandon Royval will take on Manel Kape in a 5-round main event flyweight match. Surprised Brandon Royval is taking this fight and not just waiting. Are you?
No, he's game. He was asking for it. And I think they were chirping back and forth a little bit on Twitter X. You know what I'm saying?
The people's
So
app.
I like that fight a lot. I am expecting blood. Expecting blood.
I muted you because I saw it coming.
I'm expecting blood.
Yeah, no, it should be a really good fight. I want to see. You're insane today. You're on one. You catching a little cold today, kid.
I don't know
what's
what
going
the hell. As soon as I
on?
started the show, I got allergic to my damn award choices. That's what happened.
Hold up, real quick. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's see more events. What did I say? That was March. What? March 1st. Let's see. March 1st. No. Oh yeah, fight night. Oh, can you guess the odds? Manel Cap, Brandon Royval. Who's favorite?
Manel Cap minus 125.
You got the guy right. Manel Cap minus 200. Brandon Royval plus 170.
No.
That's too big.
100%. Bet Royval.
Right now.
Based on principle.
Right now. All right, kid. That's all the news I had. No boxing. We got Rizin Tuesday night at midnight, live on pay-per-view. Should be hell of a fight.
Yo, there's a lot going on, bro. You could talk from the main event. Chihiro Suzuki's taking on Kleber Koch Herbst. They fought last time around, but because Herbst missed weight, that was an official contest. It was labeled a no contest. So will he repeat it there? We'll see. Co-main events for the lightweight championship there. Vugar Karamov's taking Roberto de Souza. Don't sleep on the old Roberto de Souza because dude knocked the dude's lights out last time out. Number one ranked overall in Japan is Karshuga Daibet. He's a Kazakhstanian, but he's on display as well. And, of course, you can't forget and disrespect the legend, even though he's fighting very early on the card. I think it's so everyone will be locked in and seeing Kyoji Horiguchi's taking on Nazimulo Zulu. So for the flyweight championship, I think a lot of those fights are going to be spectacular to see. But my pick would be for who I ranked in the top 5 pound for pound, top 10 pound for pound women's MMA ranking. Seika Izawa, 14-0, undefeated, taking on Lucia Abdelgaram. Got to take Izawa. I think you're going to see her on full display with her skill set and what she's capable of doing. Let's see if she makes it. I think it's like 5 finishes and finish fights in a row. So let's see if she continues that. That's who I'm picking. Seika Izawa.
What's her name again?
Seika Izawa.
Seika Izawa. She's taking on Lucy, whatever.
Lucia Abdelgaram. Yep.
I mean, Saka Asawawa, minus 4,000.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way she's losing. I got to get the right on the track, for the start of 2025.
Yeah, start off on the right track.
Making an offer you can't refuse, all right? You can't refuse this.
And I wrote a note. I'll have my up-to-date record for 2024 in everything.
Awesome.
Boxing, MMA, WWE. Hey, I'm a WWE sharp now.
Hey, I got denied for letting Pat McAfee be the, what I'm saying?
That's true. Okay, that's true.
I say go for it. Go for it.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this EP, second annual AKP show here. We'll be back next Friday with our future episode for 2025. We did really good last year.
Yep.
Not over 500, but let's be honest, we hit on a lot of plus monies, kid, both of us. So we'll do that next week. But I do want to wish everyone, on behalf of Joey and myself, a happy, healthy, and blessed 2025. Good luck. God bless. And Happy New Year's.